a the man. Before a pretty woman get chance, give me a cold one in my hand. Give me a cold one in my hand. Way up like an elevator. Tell the bartender bring my drinks back. Don't have a star in my hand. It's like a phone with a Wi-Fi data. Not two bottles, just to a hater.
Hey everyone, this is Pavel Diaz from Carnival Fashion, and today we are here to discover what goes on behind the scenes of Carnival costume. Today we are here with Carol, Local Precious, and Shona. So my first question for Carol is, what inspired you to be a Carnival costume designer?
Well, how it came about, it wasn't something that I actually chose to do. We kind of fell into it because at the time we were working at the Art Centre. And we were working as the resident dance company, but I also make clothes. There's a problem with one of the designers for the actual Carnival band, and somebody spoke to the band leader and said, "Oh, Carol makes costumes." So they asked me if I could recreate what this woman had designed, and I said, well, yeah. So I went off and I made it, and then as a result I became one of the Carnival designers. In fact, I ended up becoming the Carnival costume designer along with Shona. And it was great for me because my father always said that I was made for Carnival. So as a result, I've been involved in Carnival for quite a few years now. I designed the adult costumes and Shona designs the children.
In Mas since the age of 2. That's when I first started out. I first started with my school, which is St. Mary's of the Angels, and I used to make my Carnival costumes there. I actually made my first individual copy, and I showcased that at the Commonwealth Institute that used to be in Holland Park, that's it, Holland Park, and I came second place. So over the years I've always been with like mass bands and seen how the production works. My design process continued on from there. So I helped out with a few mass bands, just helping production and all of that stuff. And I did have friends and people, like customers, say, "Oh, Precious, why don't you design your own section?" So at first I didn't really take it on board. I just thought, okay, yeah, design my own section, I'm not sure about that. But then after the years went on, it's been about 5 years now, I decided, yeah, I'm going to design my own section. And basically my inspiration is from people around me, friends, other designers, doing a lot of research on other carnivals around the world. So that's what's inspired me to actually, pick up myself and become a designer. So yeah, that's it.
So for me, after being involved with the design for YARS, asked to do the children's costumes. So it was just nice to be able to work with this difference in size, because obviously they're so much smaller. So after being involved with the designs for YARS, asked to do the children's costumes, it was a completely different world because obviously they're so much smaller, and having to develop for such a small size, it's a completely different way of thinking, because you do it like, oh my god, so small. But it's just nice to develop and do things that are children-like rather than just the mixture of the adults, just in the miniature version. It's just so much more inspiration. You can really go into it. So it's just been doing children. It's just so much different.
So ladies, what is the process of making a Carnival costume?
Well, it starts with the inspiration, doesn't it?
Yeah, inspiration.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Because, often there is a theme, isn't there?
Yeah.
So you start with the theme, and then the inspiration from that. And then we have to go out over there.
Source the materials.
Which can take quite a while, because you have to find what works, isn't it? And then once you get those materials,
you have to put our prototypes together.
Make those prototypes, and then
the sleepless nights.
Oh, it's all sleepless nights, isn't it? Sleepless nights.
Lots
of nights not sleeping at home, but sleeping in the centre wake up. Or waking up ridiculous hours just to get it all sorted. Yeah. say.
Yeah,
So it's really quite an involved process.
very
Because you start with the drawings and then you get the colours and the right colours and you get something that yes, it was.
So yeah, there's a lot that goes into actually designing a costume from the beginning right through to the end, which a lot of people don't realise. Like you said, from the production side of things, the what did I say, sourcing materials, all this.
And it involves us, I don't know you, but I'm sure it's the same. It involves you all over London.
All over London. Sometimes I go all the way to China. So.
Wow. Well, I haven't done the
China
China thing, but I mean, I've got a few warehouses that I tend to use to go and find stuff. And it's always that thing, and I get more. How much more can I get exactly? You know, so you're putting money now, you have to put the money, don't you? Up front, you have to put the money down and get the things in there. For us, we don't drive. So, you know, it's that whole thing of bringing the things backwards and forwards. It's a lot of work.
I would say that especially this process when it comes to material, that is like the longest part because it's like you get it and then like you said you can't get it or it doesn't work the way you want it to work, so then you have to go back and keep going back to actually make it work for you. So that material bit, getting the sourcing of material can be like the longest part sometimes because you just keep having to find. Because I had a post about X this material for a backpack. And then when I got what I thought it wasn't what I thought it was. So it started peeling off.
Yeah.
And so it kept peeling off on the day even. So it's getting to that point where it's like, you know, you're sure. But those prototypes are so important. You know, that once I've done it doesn't exactly.
Even though the material doesn't work, your customers are looking at the prototype and that's what they want. They don't want an alternative, they want the prototype. So
and that is important because you can't change it after you've shown them the prototype. So that's not what you want.
For me, I hate changing things.
Yeah, me too.
I want to give the customer
exactly. Yeah. Whatever they've been shown, and they say, I want that, then that has to be exactly.
Okay, we are back. We've got a bit too quiet there, and they know we've got time for that, so we're chilling on now. So yes, ladies, when you see your costumes on the road, how does it make you feel?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really lovely, especially from a distance.
Yeah.
And you see the costumes moving as a group. Yeah. So it's about a group of it's not an individual thing really, although people think it's about, you know, me. But actually, Carnival is about the group and what you're trying to say. So when you see it all together, well,
You just really see your vision because like you see it in your head, and when you've actually got it from your head and you're actually seeing it there, you're like, oh my gosh, because you know you do it and you spend all that time, you have all this slides being working, and then suddenly see it with these people and you see it and it's just
I can relate to that, yeah. Like, not from a current perspective, obviously as a designer, but my first time when I did my own fashion show, seeing everyone on the runway going upwards was an amazing feeling. It's like having a flock of people dancing. So I can relate to that.
yeah. You put so much work into it. You spend so many months doing that, and you just concentrate just on that, just getting it done.
and I think what's amazing for me is that when you see the pictures, and you see the group together, it's one thing to see them by themselves and think, but it's something else when you see, you know, a group together.
Impact.
For me, like all the hard work pays off. Sleepless nights. With the struggles of getting deliveries over to the UK, it pays off. And it's such an amazing feeling to like see your creation from the paper come to life.
On that day.
On that one day. You suddenly go.
And like a sudden relief.
And because we also choreograph as well, I remember one of the years we were in the judging point and we danced the whole dance and all the costume thing. I actually cried at the end because the judges actually stood up that particular year and we were just like, it was everything.
It was like a standing ovation. Okay, so for me, myself personally, I've always noticed how much Carnival's changed over the years. So when I was younger, around 4 or 5, I used to help out making costumes. And back then, there was more arts and crafts about than it is today. And I feel Carnival's changed a lot since then. So why do you feel, I'm not saying the culture, but the design of costumes has changed so much from being more crafty towards more gems and feathers, or...
Yeah. They are very much into non-traditional arts.
Yes.
rather than the brother-based beats. So we go more towards traditional Mas because I don't think enough of it is seen on the road, and I think it's changing what people think Carnival actually is. So they think Carnival is just brother. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's very pretty, it's very attractive, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I've done it, I've done it sort of thing. But I think it's also making it that people is losing the background of where the origin, the original way. You know. So it's a problem having that there. You know, it's lovely, but I think we do need to, in some ways, have more of a balance of what's happening
between the traditional
and
the
So don't lose the history, don't lose the culture, because Carnival is a culture. It's not just a party once a year.
It's not just about I want to look sexy. I want to, you know, it should be. It's about the group. It's supposed to be saying something. It's supposed to be making some sort of social comment, whatever, however deep, however shallow it is. But it should be making some sort of social comment. Like you said, it's fine. You know, all the glass of the look beautiful, but it was so nice to have a balance, because when people talk about Brazilian Carnival, they don't realise that in Brazilian Carnival they have to have certain sections. So yes, they have the graphic and the beach where people talk about their nakedness, right? That's one section. That's only one of so many sections. They have to have certain sections which are nothing like. You know, they keep their tradition, and that's what we don't have here. And I think the reason why we have the graphic a lot is because it does bring in more income for those bands, and a lot of the younger people in particular. That's what they like, that whole feel of what that is. Although I must say, I have come across a lot of women who have said they would never go on the street, they would never go on the street naked, and so therefore, again, we're finding a lot of people that want to wear our costumes, and our costumes isn't that way, because they don't want to be naked.
People don't get that balance. We start to lose a certain generation as well. So people think it's all about young people, it's all about young people. But really, it's a family thing, it's a cultural thing, it's for everybody. And so, as you said, you get the people like, I don't do Carnival, I don't want to be, but it's not just that, and I think we're going to start losing what it's really about.
And you mentioned about when you were young and the crafts and thing. The thing was, it used to be the mass camp.
Yes.
And it used to be the family used to come. Because I remember I was very young when I used to come to London. I didn't grow up in London, but when I grew to come to London and get involved in that mass camp, and it made you feel a bit of ownership. Because then when you wear it on the road, I contributed to this. I put the shoulders up. And so, for me, if, by the grace of God, we can get the place where we can work from. Obviously, can't be the beginning, because you would have things, we've had some terrible stories of people trying to do stuff for us. So, we won't even go into that. But however, we can get to a point where there's things we can give them that's almost foolproof, and we watch over them to give them that sense of, it's supposed to be, as Trevor says, it's supposed to be a family. It's that whole, it's a village. It's everybody together, and it's, we are losing that because mass camps are disappearing, and because people are busy, trying to make a living, you know what I'm saying? So, I think it's really important that this can, and I know there is a drive, many people have spoken to me about the fact that they want to go back to the origins of what it was really about.
Talking about myself as being a designer, I do admit that I've actually fallen into that box of modern Mas. I haven't necessarily forgotten about my culture and old Mas, but it's more about the
We'll just pause that and start again from you. Okay.
So I haven't forgotten my culture, as this is what I've been doing. So it's the whole aspect of not forgetting my culture, because that's what I've been brought up on. I've been brought up on old Mas and the arts and crafts side of stuff, design. As time has gone on, I think it's more of me. I'm going with the time and what people want. Because if I was to design a section that's old Mas, I don't think anyone actually sign up to go into that section. They're more on the modern Mas, and it's a bit sad because people need to know where their culture is, where they come from. What is Carnival based on? It's more based on freedom and slavery, and it brings us back to that.
It was a reaction, wasn't it, to the situation? I mean, and I think you're absolutely right that what my concern is that most of the people I've ever spoken to in recent years, they have no clue. They have no clue. They think that Mas is brothels and beads.
Yeah, exactly.
And they have no idea. They have no idea of of the old Mas, when we're talking about fantasy, when we're talking about the dragon and the imps, they don't know nothing about larger breasts, they don't know the folk, they don't know anything. And I think part of the problem in society today, but for us of Caribbean descent, is that many people, and I'm pretty, all of us that's born here, unless we've got parents who've taken time to really teach us, we have little clue of the richness of our culture, not just Carnival, but the richness of our culture generally. And it does sadden me when we talk about Carnival, and as I say, so many people think it's just about the brothers and these and have no clue. So, I mean, that's why we're sort of trying to do our little bit towards bringing some of that back. Because you're right, I mean, there's a lot of people that would say they don't want to wear that, they're too covered. Even my cousin in Trinidad said he's too covered. But it's not about you, actually. It's the opposite. It's supposed to be about the group, what the group is saying. Like what we were saying earlier about, you look at it and you just see the whole effect. It's about the group. So it's like almost a U-turn.
You'd be surprised that there's a lot more people, especially for women, they want to look pretty. It's all about looking, look. Yeah. And it was like when we did New Orleans, we had like a range, so we had it very covered to smaller, but it still had that same unique, that same look. So it obviously still said what it was saying. And we had teenagers and stuff like that as well. And because we just like to feel. And so I think it's there. There are people who want it, but it's getting it out there and people realise it's more than just that.
I think it is definitely possible to get a balance between the two. They're just mixing them, they're still keeping them separate. As you mentioned, teenagers as well. So there's a lot of young girls who would love to do
No.
So we also have to have the sections for them, or even just the alternative versions of probably see or
Well, what we
that's what I like to do. I like to do alternative.
Yeah,
I like to do the high waisted. I like to do the monocules and the ones.
That's
it's
what
not
we
all
do.
about skimpy and a piece of string.
Yeah.
You have to fit every body type, every personality.
That's right.
So people feel comfortable going on the road, or if they want to get involved in Carnival, they're not going to say, "Well, I can't get involved because there's like really nothing to the costume."
Yeah.
But when you give them a variety, everyone can join. It doesn't matter your body type.
And then I think we also add to that because of the teenagers. The teenagers want to look like the adults, don't they? So what we do is, what we have always done in the past is that we would have a version of the adult one for the teenage, over 13 upwards. We would do a version of the adult one. Obviously, it's more covered and it's not short, and we will speak to the mothers. We never have there too much of ritual. But then, as I said, we also find that some adults, they only want like an inch, if anything. So we always do the just to cover this.
Thank you very much. Ladies, my last question for all of you is, who would you most like to design a costume for? Your celebrity, power, Trump? Anybody?
Alright, we're going to go for the men first, yeah? Okay. So the first one, Morris Chestnut. Yeah. And then we got Michael J. White and Ty Diggs. For the ladies, Megan Good, Nia Long, and Jennifer Hudson. Yeah.
Well, I make children's costumes, so I don't think there's anybody really for. But at the same time, I don't know.
I mean, for me, I really wouldn't even know what to say, because for me, it's all about being on the road. It's about the people that we're creating for. I never thought, this person I'd like to do costume for. To me, it's in the moment, people wearing the costume, it looking good on the road, and that's it for me.
But if Shamar Moore wants to come on us, then I wouldn't say no.
I'm going to find some celebrities now, bring them all to you, and we'll get that out.
Yes.
But thank you so much for obviously coming down for today and being a part of the interview. Really appreciate it. Giving us insight to Carnival in terms of the costumes, behind the scenes, and my things for once. So thank you so much, and looking forward to seeing you on the road next year.
Thank you for having us.
Start with the face. So when I step in on it, let me have man. Before a pretty woman get chance, give me a cold one in my hand. Give me a cold one in my hand. And way up like an elevator. Tell the bartender bring my drinks up. Don't have a star in my hand. It's like a phone with a Wi-Fi data. Knock two bottles just to a hater. Find me a girl live with a later. cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. You should know that. Every time I say I love my culture, that's 'cause I mean it. And every time you see me move the soul, that's 'cause I feel it. So if you don't believe me, yeah, put a knife to my skin, cut me, I believe it. Tell me beat till you feel it. Park it on, way up like an elevator. Tell the bartender bring my drinks, not right now. I spend about half my paper. And me head tighter than me boots and a soldier. Walking them girl like it's hard labor. Bring it in a truck, bring it in a trailer. Close to me range, bring it in a rubber. Bring it anyhow, I don't really care. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. You should know that. Anytime, anywhere we party, we don't need a reason. 365 days, we don't need a season. So if you don't believe me, yeah. Anytime soca play, you see the people. My street we like an eagle. Park it on, way up like an elevator. Tell the bartender bring my drinks, not right now. I spend about half my paper. And me head tighter than me boots and a soldier. So creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup in a glass. Creating a bottle in a cup. Park it on, way up like an elevator. Tell the bartender bring my drinks, not before. Don't have a start in my hand. It's like a phone with no Wi-Fi or data. Not two bottles, cheers to a hater. Find me a girl, leave with a later. Sell it with a waitress for a waiter. Bring it anyhow, I don't really cater. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Bring it in a bottle, in a cup, in a glass. Voice lost.